I remember for that 1500 rupees, I spoke to that guy for 47 minutes and 45 minutes. I still have the WhatsApp message and everything. I spoke to him about his father, mother, everything, like the whole thing. And I love ChatGPT. It's a great, large language models are definitely the future. This was being predicted not now. By 2017, 18, generative adversarial networks were going to take on. At that time, the computational power was not there. Like I wrote my first generative adversarial network code 2017 or 18. I think now I'm going to continue to bootstrap. We are thinking of launching in the US. Just built a small US team, which is nice. So I'm very happy. That's like a dream come true. Just one. That goal is not to be like successful. Goal is to be making mistakes, less mistakes.
So welcome everyone. So welcome to another podcast. And today we have Jaynath. So Jaynath is IIT Madras graduate, and he currently made over 4.5 crores cash collected from his coaching business, and he's currently working on AI and blockchain technologies. As today he is going to give you a lot of value. So welcome Jaynath to our podcast, and I'm super excited to learn from you and hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you for having me over, Sagar. Always an inspiration to meet you.
Thank you.
I've been following your work from 2 years ago. I think we were at, I got into the DDIP program because I saw one of your videos wherein you went 365 days non-stop posting. I think we're doing affiliate.
Yes, affiliate marketing that time.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a big inspiration for us. I wasn't doing too well at that time. I had lost a lot of money and etc. But that was really inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Jaynath, tell us about your journey, like quickly introduction about you, what exactly you do, because a lot of us don't know about you. So please tell us your journey, how you started all this AI and blockchain technologies. Please walk us through your backstory. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking that. And I'll go all the way, typically from education, because that's
Sure.
one thing I can show off a little bit. So I'm a middle class Telugu guy, and if you have to have a seat at the table, you either become an engineer or a doctor. And my father also went to an IIT. At that time, it was Roorkee Engineering College. So he obviously had only one path, which is engineering. Went to IIT Madras, did my BTech and MTech there. Again, Telugu people, they don't send you to honeymoon until you go to US, do your masters there. So I did that, dog and pony show. I went to Columbia University, which is an Ivy League, same place where Barack Obama, Warren Buffett studied, etc. Amazing place, New York City. Had the good fortune to meet really, spectacular people at a young age. Then went and did my work, full-time work at American Express, which was a credit and risk underwriting team. At that time, I saw, this was 2014, back in the day, had access to a lot of data, did a lot of risk modeling, number crunching, pattern analysis, forecasting, etc., systems, processes for the whole of North America. And that experience was mind-blowing. I didn't know that at that time, but eventually that was very, very helpful. Unfortunately, MX had a layoff. So they probably laid off a significant division, and me and a bunch of other people in the team got laid off. So at that time, I did get a job as Citibank vice president in the risk team, but there was some itch that I wanted to do something. And US green visa issues are huge. So I came back to India, to Hyderabad. The first 3-4 years were painful. I did everything from a gossip chat app to school bus tracking to God knows whatnot. So obviously the 3 years had passed, lost more than 40-50 lakhs. And roughly around 2017 I came across a very good AI upskilling program, which is in Hyderabad, started by Carnegie Mellon, CMU professors, alumni. And that course changed my life. It was a 6 months boot camp. Got thoroughly grounded again in, deep learning, machine learning, supervised learning, all of these AI concepts. And I knew right then that, AI was the future. In the sense, there's been so many summers and winters of AI, but 2017 May is when I had come across this, much before all of the ChatGPT noise. And also it was aligned with my core strength, which is mathematics, probability, tech. So December, I started teaching, which was part-time for Simply Learn, Great Learning, and all of these. And I started another health tech company. I was fascinated by this concept wherein you could use image processing and help doctors or radiologists, screen morbidity, screen diseases much, much faster. And also India, there's a severe paucity, very, very huge scarcity of qualified doctors, and the number of patients are actually increasing, which everybody knows. So I was fascinated by that problem. Teleradiology was something we were trying to make inroads. So long story short, 2018, 19, by 19, I got one very big enterprise client called LV Prasad. We made some good money there in their proof of concept, etc. However, I saw that that was not geometrically, taking off. So some ideas are good, some ideas are not something that will take off. And then COVID happened and decimated that. However, my other experience, I was continuing to teach. I love teaching. I'm passionate about making a difference in somebody's lives. I'm very curious. So I work for Great Learning, which got sold for 9 figures. I work for Simply Learn, which got sold for 9 figures. I work for Acad Guild, which went bankrupt. तो मैंने सोचा ओके, 2 कंपनी एग्जिट हुए, मेरे को पैसे नहीं मिले, एक कंपनी बैंकरप्ट हुआ, मेरे को पैसे नहीं मिले, let me start my own coaching and training business. And that's how I entered to the world of coaching. Sorry, very long summary of
No
my...
problem. That was a very inspiring journey. So when it
Thank
comes to coaching, what exactly you teach and who exactly your target audience? And
Yeah, great. So my mission or niche is primarily in the AI and blockchain space. We try to help professionals upskill, tech professionals upskill in their current domain or job. So for instance, the ideal ICP for us, ideal customer profile is somebody who's like 37 years old. She's working in Infosys and she's maybe making 1 lakh a month right now. And she wants to get a tech upskilling and, receive that solid foundation, and then, maybe apply for like a higher job or like an increment within the current job, so on and so forth. So that's our target profile. Mostly right now in the community, we are around, so we have 2,000 members, paid members. 90% are men. Tech has more men. And about 10% of the people have masters, about 5% have PhDs. Mostly we're doing the Indian market right now, but we have few organic from US, Canada, Australia, but that's just organically coming in. How did we start the coaching? So 2019, I told you, like I was a faculty at all these places, so I knew the systems. How do you set up? I had the syllabus, etc. But one thing I did not know was, or definitely was a weakness, was marketing. And so 2020, I started like sort of looking for coaches, particular with marketing, who were excelled at inorganic traffic. I didn't know at the time that was the word, but basically, how do you get inbound leads very, very fast? So at that time, I tried a bunch of coaches, and eventually, ILH was one community. Digital Deepak was one community I got in.
yes,
And yeah, very fortunate. Great. That DDIP was definitely one of the places where it was a pivotal moment. And then through Deepak, I met Siddharth Rajshekar, and then got into his quantum, etc. And that took the game to the next level. Yeah, that's a little bit of the trajectory.
so when you all started like coaching and marketing coaching, so what are the challenges you faced? Because there are a lot of our audience, they actually in the early stage of their journey, whether it's coaching or consulting. What is your message to them? Because you must have gone through those challenges. So what is those challenges and how you what learnings that you learned from them?
Excellent. Yeah, so great question. So if I were to rewind back time, so 2021, actually May 1st is April 26th. Let's just say May 1st is when I started my own brand. And until 2021, September, I hadn't registered it. So my journey has been the following. So I recorded the lectures for the first 3 months nonstop because I knew I had a blueprint. And 2021, August, 3 to 4 months after I recorded all of my lectures, I started the ads and got into paid traffic, right? Now, my trajectory is slightly different because I was very clear about my niche. I knew I wanted to be in AI or Web3. And the reason why I picked up that niche is I love technology and I'm passionate about that. And second, I saw that, technology always goes in cycles, right? So, when the cell phone was invented, obviously it displaced the landline phone, so on and so forth. So there's a new technology that's going to come in, which will displace the older one. It's always best to be in the future. That's where you'll capture most of the value. So I knew that, when the iPhones came out, it displaced smartphones and the apps, they displaced a lot of the legacy technologies. Same way, I realized that AI is going to be super hot, which it is right now, depending on when you use this. And I know tomorrow there's going to be some other technology that's going to be hot. Like it could be blockchain, it could be quantum computing, it could be cybersecurity, if not already. So it's always important to invest in the future. So my niche was solid in the sense clarity wise. Only the marketing was not correct. So I've seen that most coaches, though, who love training, are not clear about the niche. So the first thing I would request you is to be, if I had gone back in time, or if I'm advising somebody who's starting out, is be very passionate first about training, influencing people's lives, because many people don't like teaching because it's a lot of patience game. As as a coach, you are. I still am astounded how you did 365 days. Second is niche clarity has to be very congruent with you. Don't take run of the mill things. I've also tried crypto trading, I'll be honest, and I failed. And I failed not because the market was hot, because I just didn't feel resonance. Like crypto was going
Resonance, yeah.
up. Resonance बहुत ही important है. I tried stock marketing with AI also. So that happens to all of us. We get attracted to strawberry ice cream.
Shiny objects. Yeah.
Shiny objects. Yeah. All these chocolate ice cream, strawberry ice cream, butterscotch. But there's one ice cream for you, and just really focus on that. So be passionate about training, figure out your niche. And a couple of times you'll get it wrong, which is okay, but keep the momentum high. Third is be in it for the very, very long term. Like if somebody asks me, when did you become a coach? My coach was not now, right? My first time I taught was 15 years ago. I was teaching when I was in IIT Madras. I was teaching how to prepare for IIT. I taught in the US, in Colombia also. I was teaching all the sports athletes who are weak in maths. So you have to be really in it for like the passion of teaching, because that will take you through a long, long time, because you'll have issues with traffic. You'll have issues with Facebook. You'll have issues with YouTube. You'll have issues with student refunds. You'll have issues with employees. All of this is a pain. So I think if you're a beginner, these are three things, which is have a passion for teaching, and be congruent with your niche from your childhood or whatever. And C is be in it for the long term.
Amazing. And when was the first time that you got your first client or first student? How was that experience? Because that moment, a lot of people still waiting for. I wanted to know your experience. How did you got it?
Actually, my first experience and second experience, I still remember. So my first experience was I put up something on Internshala, which is actually very scandalous. Internshala, I think, doesn't allow coaches to post this one. So it was kind of bad. Don't try this at home, or don't try this. So I put up Internshala, and then I was trying to get traffic. I did not know Facebook marketing and all that. So I was trying to get people who were in data science. So I got two people. One was an NIT student in Assam, or Northeast India. And I still remember he paid me 1,500 rupees. And I felt like so happy when he paid me after
So
like.
Internshala is for hiring interns.
I know,
right? So,
I know. So I was trying to hire, but I said, okay, by the way, I have a course like this. So yeah, don't try that. That was very bad of me. I think I got.
thank you for being honest.
Yeah, I got a red flag letter also. But then since then, I told them I'm not going to do that, which is desperate times we make all kind of shit mistakes. So this one, I still remember him. His name is Vamsi, and he gave me 1,500 rupees. That was amazing. Second person was also from Northeast India, and he was some army Jawan's son or something. He paid me like same 1,400 or 1,500 rupees for the entire data science course, which we had. So feeling surreal. I remember for that 1,500 rupees, I spoke to that guy for 47 minutes or 45 minutes. I still have the WhatsApp message and everything. I spoke to him about his father, mother, everything, like the whole thing. And finally, I think he got like, I wore him down. Paise le le bhai. So yeah, those were my first 1,500 plus 1,500 rupees.
Amazing. Now coming to your experience, how do you think your learnings from this great learning, Simply Learn, actually helping you in currently right now?
Yeah, very good question. So see, you have to look at the scale, right? Great Learning is is a much larger company than Simply Learn. So Great Learning was a fantastic institution. The processes, the systems, pedagogy styles, how to hire faculty, student problems. So the systems are. I love the company. They're immaculate. I don't know what happened post the Byju's acquisition. So, but so Great Learning, for instance, we had, I think, 7 cities, Delhi, Bombay, har jagah, Pune. So I used to fly around. I took 60, 70 flights in 2019. I remember pre-COVID. I was one of the primary AI faculty, loved it. Students were, and all of these. And Great Learning was a high ticket, what people call now high ticket. Basically, the course was 3 lakhs plus tax. So the quality of students was different. And we would train both professionals and we would train, what's it called? Freshers who weren't getting jobs, right? So those are 2 segments. I also did corporate training at Simply Learn. So basically, you'll know what the company has to be. Like I'm still at maybe level 1, and I know these are level 5 companies. How do you handle your customer success manager? How do you handle your student success manager? All of these faculty reviews, NPSs. So the end state. The learnings I had is I know what to do to get to 5. Eventually, how I will look at 5, but I'm at 1. So I still need somebody to help me with 2, 3, 4. So for instance, for perspective, I think Great Learning's revenue is 800 crores per annum. And they are in US also, I think. Yeah. Simply Learn's revenue was 240 crores when they got acquired. So, and Simply Learn was, the other thing is one small thing. Great Learning was an on-site, like in-person classroom. So I knew how to handle in-person classroom experience. Lunch kaise dena hai, events kaise karna hai. For Simply Learn, I learned everything about how to do an online business. Like how do you set up GoToMeeting, WebEx, 60 students, how do you build a community? The community is not very deeply entrenched, but it's good enough for the batch concept, like a cohort-based. So those are some learnings I know. And I have a clear path of what to do. I have a clear form factor of what to be at the 4th or the 5th state, but I don't know the path to 2, 2, 3, 4, which is okay. I'll figure that out maybe in the next 3, 4 years.
Amazing. Now, when it comes to those AI things that you can see, a lot of coaches started teaching. What are the disadvantages that you can see when it comes to AI? Because you are like ChatGPT is coming. You can share the both angle, like the advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, great question. So that's a 2-part question, right? So one is, how do you look at the pros and the cons of coaches doing it? And how do you look at the pros and cons of the technology?
Yeah, coaches.
Got it, coaches. Okay. So see, pros, I mean, I'm a very optimistic person, as you might have figured out. I love ChatGPT. It's a great, large language models are definitely the future. This was being predicted not now. By 2017, 18, generative adversarial networks were going to take on. At that time, the computational power was not there. Like I wrote my first generative adversarial network code 2017 or 18, right? So this is way back before even OpenAI. I think OpenAI started in 2017. So that technology is amazing. Those are like, that is probably bigger than like, or how iPhone came in 2007 when Steve Jobs launched that. So it's as powerful as that. The next 12, 15 years is going to be amazing, or even more than that. Like iPhones are being still hot. iPhone is still hot right now. Even the secondary market of iPhone is very hot, right? So I think large language models, that core technology, which ChatGPT is built on, is fantastic. Computational power has come in and the inflection point is real. And all of the other ancillary pieces like stable diffusion and all of that is also going to take on the world. So those are applications of AI, right? So one is iPhone and one is the apps, right? So these are all apps built on top of the iPhone. So we teach AI, the core AI, like how do you make the next ChatGPT? How do you make the next maybe a large language model? How do you do computer vision? How do you do self-driving cars? How do you do time series prediction of weather of stock? So there's a slight difference there. Now, so advantages of coaches teaching this is everybody gets to use it. Everybody is learning. My mom also talks about ChatGPT, which is great. The disadvantages I see though is many coaches are in here for the trend, which is a common thing. You can't blame them, right? Again, shiny object syndrome. Don't do the thing in vogue right now. It's very difficult. Don't get distracted. If you're congruent with AI, if this is what you've been doing for 4, 5 years, then do it. If you want to make a quick buck, that's also okay. But you know that the season will be over, right? This is like listening to the popular song right now, right? Like I'm just making Natu Natu was a famous song, and so you picked it up. But are you really into Telugu movies? Have you been into Telugu movies for 4 years? Can you be into Telugu movies for 10 years? So that's the kind of thinking you have to have, because tomorrow some other thing will come. So
Right.
I don't blame coaches doing it, because most people are stuck for cash. And so you do get tempted, and in desperate times you do this. But I think the positives will be always over the negatives. That's my view.
Amazing. Like now, when it comes to like, I wanted to ask about community building. So you have built a good large number of community building. So how do you see that community building is going to the next big thing in this digital space?
Great question. Actually, so you'll be perplexed, Saga. One thing is, so I think Siddharth got me into community building, and I think most of the traction we have made, I would attribute to him and his principles. So let's look at what community building is, right? Community building has been there for like thousands, if not 20,000 years. There's communities even with monkeys, and all of us have descended from monkeys, right? So you have a father, mother, and you have a family, and there's like an alpha and all of that. That's there even with like other slightly lower order animals like wolves and all that. So now, if you look at this, there's this digital explosion, and everybody knows, everybody is connected in a social sense, but it's not really social. It's a digital social sense, right? You're connected every day. You're waking up to Instagram and all of that. I think the thesis is that your interactions are coming down with flesh and blood people, right? Like other people, that's coming down, but the number of digital interactions you're having is kind of increasing. So somewhere I believe like there's a huge void of genuine, authentic connections, and history has a way of repeating itself. So my view is like, if you look at religion has tapped into it like amazingly, right? You have strong communities. Like my mom, who's a Hindu, she blindly prays every day. Every year we have to come back to Tirupati, shave our head. We don't know why we did that, but we just did that because she listens to her Guruji, no questions. So it's like an operating system, and people who have done that, like that operating system has gone to the next level. Like religions have done it well. A lot of good companies have done it. Like Apple has a huge, very strong community. Many people don't understand community very well, but if you were to build a community, it takes a lot of effort and hard work, but it is intensely satisfying. I think that's one thing I have learned. I have never built a community before this, and different companies and different people are doing it at different levels. Like for instance, Great Learning, Simply Learn don't have a very active community. When you have a personal brand, I think the community becomes very, very strong. For instance, I'm sure your community is very, very attuned to you. You've done previously, Mitesh, Imran, Siddharth or Deepak. There's a little bit of affinity and strong loyalty, but doing it at a company level is kind of tricky. And I think I would digress slightly to the crypto and the Web3 space. So there, definitely, it's a lot more about the community, but interactions are different. Long story short, I would say that if you are a coach, beginner, you have to start thinking about community. And community is nothing but showing up every week for at least 45 minutes in front of them. Even if 10 people are there, 20 people are there, just show up and talk to them.
But what happens in Jayant, like when people having only 4 or 5 people, so there is some people don't show up. So how do you deal with that? Because the limiting belief is मेरे पास तो 5 लोग हैं. How can I build a community?
Okay, so I think that's a great question. So one thing is, somewhere I read it, like you need 1,000 true fans, right? There's a concept that you need 1,000 true fans to make, let's say, 3 lakh a month, or if you're in the US, whatever, $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
But to build a strong community, I think you need only 10 true fans. Only 10 people who are in love with you. I mean, everybody started with 1 people, 2 people, 3 people, right? So even me, my sales team, only 3, 4 people come, but we show up every day. Because you have to get many people who fall in love with you. The way somebody will fall in love with you is only if you show up on screen as many times as possible. Plus, with the right code of conduct, value system is very, very important. The values are extremely important. And but the benefits are compounded. Like all my members, like my staff members, etc., from early members of my community. And I can see a reliable path that's the way for the first maybe 30 members also.
Amazing.
So I don't think it's a limiting belief. I think it's just the way it works. Like if you can attract 5 people, and the time you spend to work on 5 people is the same time you spend to work on 50 people, same time you spend on 100 people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to community building, that is great. Now, the next step, whenever people started building communities, now it gets overloaded with so many tasks. then you start building teams. Then I have seen that you also talk about team building and all these things. So what is your approach toward building the first set of the teams?
Yeah, I think so. It's all phases, right? So let's say you're in like first class, like first standard, second standard, third standard. I think for the maybe first 20 lakhs a month kind of revenue, you should be able to do it single-handedly or maybe max with two people. But after that, I think for the first 10 crores, after that you have to build a team. I think even first 4 crores itself, you can start thinking of a team. It's very, very important because the team will keep you in check. Level is really you, right? Because you don't sometimes
Exactly.
show up. Sometimes you feel lazy. Sometimes you're angry. All that, but the team will keep you in check, right? It's the cricket teams that will win IPLs or the World Cups. It's not a single batsman, right? You have to build a team, and also as for you, as time progresses, you want to increase revenue and profit and decrease your time in the business. So it's very important to build a team. All the biggest businesses are all in team. So I think the thumb rule is for the first 4-5 crores, just be 2 or 3 people. After that, you have to start thinking of more people. How do you build a team? That's the most painful thing. It's simple. You find people from your community, attract people based on your value system who align with you and who are competent. That's very, very important. Look for experience over promise. That's one mistake even I've been making. I look for promise. I fall in love easily. So somebody will tell, yeah, ये एक साल के बाद Facebook ads सीख लेगा. That's not the right thing. You have to find somebody who's an expert and convince them to somehow work for you, maybe part-time or maybe giving a little bit of equity or something. Don't do revenue shares because because you need cash in the bank. If you do a revenue share, I think that'll be slightly debilitating for the business. Yeah. So team building is hard. Yeah, it's hard, especially for tough roles. It's very, very hard. Like important roles like sales, performance marketing. It's very hard. So you have to go all out to hire the best.
And I think you have invented that concept called webinar hiring formula. So I think we did a quick video there. So if you can tell us about that, so that how actually that you structure and how actually you deliver that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I invented it, but it seemed the most logical thing. So if you look at
the name, at least the name that you have invented.
Yes,
The concept maybe it is going
yeah,
maybe since long. Yeah.
yeah. So Sagar, so basically, I'll tell you about my pain during hiring. So what happened is I would, and then that's like the origin and the genesis, which I told you in the short reel that we did. So I saw that I would try to hire for a role. So let's say I'm trying to hire for a role of customer support. Now, what does a customer support do? He or she will just reply to customer emails. And we get a lot of emails. I'm sure even you're getting a lot of emails or
Yes.
inquiries or DMs and all that. So I would go and put a post on Naukri or on LinkedIn or on Internshala or wherever. And I would get like 240 applications. Of course, if you do the paid version. So sifting through 240 applications is really painful.
Yes.
And that too for a customer support role. So I would do that. So I would go through all of them, and then I would have these weird things like, okay, this guy seems like a fresher, so drop him. This lady seems good. And I would go very fast. So that's not even the best way. So as time progressed, what I realized is, okay, I'm doing these one-to-ones, and then there's a no-show. She doesn't show up on the call, which is again a time sink. And then finally I would hire them, and then I would give them the task, and then another 2 weeks, 4 weeks would go. So I was like, okay, how do we redesign the problem? How can we think of this in a different way? And then I had an idea, which was, okay, a simple, instead of a one-to-one, let's do a one-to-many approach. And then we were anyways doing webinars, which is how the sales were happening. So I said, okay, let's get all of these guys on a WhatsApp group. So I would send them a link, and then the WhatsApp group would get filled with like 200 people, which is great. Customer support people. And then I would say, okay, Sunday, 5 p.m., I'm doing a small webinar for all of you guys. That's it. Here's the Zoom link. And then I'd give them some small value nuggets in before, like how to do customer support, about me, my journey and all of that, just to get them warmed up. And then of the 200 people, 50 people would show up. I was like, wow, 50 people have shown up. The first time I did it, around, I think 20 people showed up for some role. And I was like, wow, can I request all of you to keep your videos on? Because I'm going to talk about, and I would call out each person's name, etc. And then the format is very simple. In that 1.5 hour, 1 hour, I would talk about, so half an hour, first half an hour, I would talk about company, values, revenue, everything, so that they get some comfort around us in the space, student testimonials, etc. So really selling yourself very subtly. The next half an hour, I would just invite them to talk a little bit, just 2 to 3 people, because I would record this webinar and play it again. 2 to 3 people about their backgrounds. So some people say, I was customer support for Dell. I was customer support for something else, in Just Dial or whatever. And then last half an hour, I would make them go through a task. So here is me replying to 2 customer ticket emails. One is like a refund email, which keeps coming. Second is lost password or ये course का access नहीं मिला. So some 2 to 3 things live I would show them, and then I will give them a small task. Hey, you know what? So here are 2 emails. Same task I would give them, like a refund request or something like that. And then I would say you have to submit within 24 hours just a original response to this. That's it. And of the 50 people, definitely you'll get 10 to 15 applications. You just go through them and then call the people, because at least you know you're serious, you know that they're serious. So that way you can reduce your interview time by a lot. So in fact, now it's automated, my team does it. So every week for each role, I have like at least 1 or 2 applications, solid applications coming in, as opposed to us chasing them. They chase us.
So you keep on hiring for this particular post, or?
No. So the way you want to think about hiring is, at least for functions like sales, performance marketing, customer support, operations, is you always have to be in, at least in touch, or at least first touch should happen with quality candidates.
Yes.
Because I've realized it's a rock star syndrome. So a guy who is a player in sales is very different from a B player and a C player, right? So you might not be. So the A guy will say, okay, Jay, you're too young for me. You can't afford me and all that, which is fair. But 6 months later, something will happen to his, maybe he's gone on to some other company. He's worked at Byju's. And then he sees that, okay, Byju's wasn't a great fit. He'll come back to me. So you have to always be in touch with A players across 3 to 4 streams. So at least have the first call with them. They'll see your values. They'll be warmed up, and then maybe 6 months or 1 year later, they'll come back to you. So my view on recruiting is slightly different. Don't look for the roles fit right now. Of course, you have to do the fit right now, but as time progresses, you have to be having a pipeline of rockstar candidates. Not able to recruit a guy because of money is a good problem. Because 1 year, 2 years down the line, you'll be able to recruit him. At that time, you can't build a relationship. It'll be difficult. So build a relationship from now.
Correct. So how big is your team right now?
So we are 9 or 10 people now.
Amazing.
Yeah. Blend of full-time plus contractors.
And what is the future plan of your Pixel Test? What are the...
Yeah, good question. So Pixel Test, I think now I'm going to continue to bootstrap. We are thinking of launching in the US. Just built a small US team, which is nice. So I'm very happy. That's like a dream come true. Earlier, I was like, can I afford them? Will they listen to me? Go Rolo. But now it's good. I'm reviewing their calls, etc. So it's good. So I think this quarter, if we have some targets, that's good. So if I do the US launch and the high ticket goes well, that'll be very nice. I'm anticipating by December, we'll double down that team, which will be good. Because the recession is going on now. People want to do tech upskilling. So I feel like timing is good. So Pixel Test, the next 3 to 5 years, I feel like bootstrapping this business, because we built the community on our values. We're building the team on our values. So I haven't raised venture capital before. So maybe this I'll stay away from that, but I'm open to like exploring options. Yeah, that's a little bit about the coaching business. Hopefully we're looking for really building and doubling down the sales team and increasing the North American presence. Second is the fulfillment team, like the people, the faculty, etc. That will be really strong, driving people to completion. And all of these, at least the Indian courses, are with IIT Madras. So increasing the number of people who graduate and get a success story, which is like jobs. So these are 3 things we are going to be focusing on.
What kind of some impact that amazed you in this journey, like in your student's life, or something that, okay, wow, this type of impact can really Amazing. So any success story that you would like to share?
Yeah. So, I mean, success stories of two types, right? One is people getting the result, which is great. So, one of our students called Samiksha, she got a job at Microsoft, which is fantastic, a great salary, I think 51 lakhs per annum. Then there was like this other person from Varanasi, near Varanasi, Shubham Dubey, he got a big package as well. So, those are like the financial success, which is obviously very, very satisfying. But the other kind of success that I really like is the outliers. Like, so there's a 70-year-old lady called Suju, who's like this fantastic person. She's sort of out of her retirement and she's upskilling. She's taken a program. She flew to IIT Madras during her graduation. She was talking about her journey, which is mind blowing. And she's going to finish the certification now because she wants to learn. So her objective outcomes are different. There's a 13-year-old guy called Medansh who received some Pradhan Mantri award, right, with from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he's finished the certification. And I think he's going to do more. So that's like next level. I think people in the coaching business, your elixir, like your energy, comes from people. It's because everybody's so different. They're going through a lot. So I'm sure you have also found that, Sagar, in your own coaching, business, which is people will be surprising you. They'll dazzle you. They'll make you humble, and you will find your purpose through them.
Very true, very true. Like
Yeah.
that is something like rightly mentioned, like where you get energy from them. Yeah,
Yeah.
very true. I just wanted to ask about so early age coaches, how they can make at least 1 lakh by working, let's suppose, at least maybe 3 to 4 hours in a day. Maybe they are working. Because what happens is many people are still working in a job and they still wanted to make a career in this particular coaching industry. So giving a less time, how they can make at least 1 lakh. If you do have any framework or if you would like to give any tips for them.
Yeah. Yeah, great question. I'll tell you why it's a great question, because many people are not thinking like that. Many people are still afraid. Okay, my boss, kya sochega? There's conflict of time, conflict of interest. So they still believe that they should teach. Everybody should be a coach. You've always been a coach to your. Let's say if you have kids, you're obviously de facto coach. If you have a younger sibling, you're a coach, right? So I think training and coaching industry is a great, like a really fulfilling industry, in the sense like you're not selling like ITC, like, not that I'm against ITC, but you're not selling cigarettes, or you're not like a delivering pizza and all, right, and making them more fatter. But long story short, it's a very gratifying profession. The way you want to do it is the same. Go back to your niche, see a topic you like. So for instance, I have this guy who teaches English. He's sitting in next to Varanasi, UP, and he's crushing it. He's making 2-3 lakhs. So luckily, we have the advantage of population, in the sense like a lot of people want the same skill. Start with something very basic, which is, suppose I'm just making an example of, you're trying to teach English. Just get 20 people, 20 kids to pay you 5,000 rupees, which is nothing. That's just going through your limiting beliefs, right? Just asking the parents the money, etc., or give them free trials for the first 1-2 weeks. Maybe come to your community and really leverage the Facebook power, or the organic method power, or the YouTube power, or whatever the case might be. Really just going live, keeping a small WhatsApp group. So first step is, make your organic channel up, keep a WhatsApp group, which will be the second step. Get all of these leads in and just keep adding value for 7 days for free. And then at the end of the 8th day, earn the permission to pitch to them something, which would be a 5,000 rupee product. That's enough. And give them a 1 month coaching. I think that'll be more than enough. So the whole time you spend is just 1 hour a day for the 7 days. There's one day of pitching. That's more than enough. You'll get even a lot more money if you do it right.
Yeah, nurturing is the very crucial thing when it comes to the authorities. You don't have a very big authority, so I think nurturing part is very crucial.
Yeah.
So Jay, would love to know about the other side of your journey, like what you do apart from your this technological stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Many
I
people
love.
don't know about it.
Yeah, I love the usual things. I think reading, just listening to a lot of tech podcasts, etc. I'm trying to start my other company too, which is hopefully going to be mostly in blockchain, Web3. I love running. I'm getting back to running a lot, and follow a lot of cricket. I think I'm a big cricket geek. If you ask me,
Oh, me too.
exactly, the kind of geek like, okay, what is the strike average of Rishabh Pant? So I think those numbers also I know. So
Oh,
I don't play cricket as much now. So that's why I'm a little more fatter.
so you must be following IPL too?
Yes, yes. Now, so earlier all the editions I followed religiously in terms of the highlights, but now I'm watching once in 2 3 days to cover up all the highlights because of the US launch and all. I don't have that much time. But yeah, but the Sunday finals that's upcoming, and depending on when
Yes.
I'm going to watch it live. Yeah. So
Today
yeah,
is their eliminator also, sorry.
yes, yes, and the usual watch a lot of slapstick Telugu humor. Watch every movie. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jay. You added a lot of values to this podcast. The last question I would like to ask, what is the one message that you live your life that you would like to give to our community?
Sure. My only message would be like give yourself permission to fail.
Wow.
Yeah. Simple. Just one that. Goal is not to be like successful. Goal is to be making mistakes, less mistakes, less mistakes, less mistakes. I think that's the only mantra.
Wow, that is very powerful. Thank you so much, Jay. And
Yeah.
all of you, those who are watching, please share lots of love for Jay and share what exactly you learned. Maybe you can take a snapshot of this particular tag Jay. So do you have any social media account you'd like to mention? I'll put that link in the comment box, the description
Yeah,
box.
sure. Yeah. So one thing you could look for is Jay Setti, which is JAYSETTI. And you'll get across the YouTube channel. If you're on Instagram, it's I am Jay Setti. And if you want to just hit me up on LinkedIn, just type Jaynath Rasim Setti pixel test. You'll get it. Yeah.
Well, I'll add that all this thing. So please tag Jayant if you're watching any social media. And thank you so much once again, Jay. I'm really grateful for having you in this podcast. I look forward to having other conversations in the future.
Yeah. No. Thank you, and grateful to you that you did the challenge and you inspired us. 2 years ago. That definitely was a pivotal moment when I got into that community. Yeah. Thank you, Saga, for all the work and for inspiring coaches from the organic method that you're doing. I think your focus earlier was Facebook. Not sure if that's continuing to be your focus, but just the passion of the previous podcast and bringing all these really diverse set of coaches who've been there and done that is very, very important. So that young coaches kind of know at least what mistakes we have made and they don't lose hair like us.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you, Sagar.